This podcast is not a substitute for a relationship with a mental health professional. Hello, everyone. Once again, it is a new episode of the Mental Health is a Lifestyle podcast with your girl, Andrea Wise-Brown. I am so happy, guys. Well, not guys, family. Y'all are my family. So I am so excited, again, no lies, to be here with you again this week on this episode. So as you know, when we do the podcast, you already know Dr. Kreative. You know, we do our mailbags together. But now the podcast is moving into a different space where we're going to have some good, healthy, deep conversations, some candid conversations with some people who want to bring their truth. And so today we have with us our new addition to the family, Mr. Stephen James Dixon.
Yay! Oh, y'all gonna edit that in later? Y'all gonna edit that in, the claps and all that, and it's gonna be a whole audience and all. Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
That's what I'm gonna have to do, Stephen. I'm gonna have to do that. I gotta invest some more money for that.
I appreciate you having me.
Oh, I'm so excited for you to be here. I really am. Okay, so before I could even say why, I was gonna say this is a long time coming. When I didn't even know. God has some things, God has your life already planned for you, right? And I love that Bible verse. And nope, family, y'all know I am not gonna sit up here and lie like I can tote a Bible verse, but I knew it with something like he will make your crooked places straight, meaning that he's already down the road, pulling everything together and making life real good for you, making it worthwhile.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Okay. And so I say that, but before I say that, let me properly introduce you. Okay. So, and some of you guys may already know who Stephen is. So Stephen James Dixon is a husband, a father, a relationship expert, and author of the book, Men Don't Heal, We Hoe. I'm going to rewind that. Okay, I need y'all to hear that again, okay? He is the author of the book, Men Don't Heal, We Hoe. Okay, now, a book about the emotional instability of men. Stephen has been featured live on TV and radio across the country and as far away as Europe and Africa. So this right here, Stephen, is where the applause supposed to come in.
Oh, okay. I don't be knowing where it come in.
It comes in. It just always comes in. Go ahead.
I know the editors be doing an amazing job. Okay. They know how to do all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Okay, Stephen. So the name of that book. All right, so no, here we go. Let me give you my little story, my little spiel as to why I said God makes your crooked places straight. Okay, so as I've been doing this podcast, and you guys know I'm a therapist, and so I have a private practice. I'm also married for 27 years. I live with a man. I see men in my practice. I have godsons that I've helped to raise. So those are and now they're men. And my son that I helped to raise, my stepson, who's my son that I helped to raise. So I have all these men. And right now, I don't know, at this time in my life, and it's probably more about me and my transition, honestly. But there's been some things that have just been coming up about men, men's issues, men's feelings that haven't been heard, men's voices and men choosing not to use their voices because of the different fears that they have. And so this has just really it's been in my life. It's been showing up in my life all around me. So that for me is when I know that that's something that I really need to lean into, to tap into, because it presents an opportunity, not only for me to grow, but also for the listeners, the world to grow. Right. And so, I don't know, after prayer one morning, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, who what man can I talk to? Because my husband is not going to sit on this couch and talk to these. He's not going to do that. That is just not who he is. And
that
that's
brother
okay.
got some wisdom. 27 years of marriage. You need to say, you got to make him, you got to trick him and record him on the low.
I'm not Stephen, because he may say something that I may not be proud.
Yeah, the editing. You got the editing again. You got to trust the editors.
I want to go viral, but not for that reason. Okay. So I respect that. Right. But I'm thinking, okay, who could I have? And I promise you, after prayer one morning, the name of your book popped up in my head.
Wow.
Men Don't Heal, We Hoe. I promise you. Okay. Wow. Where'd this come from, Andrea? Like, where this came from, family, is, and I think when I reached out to you on the email, I said to you, a good friend of mine, Dr. Guy, Tanisha Guy, introduced me to you. I don't know if it was 10 years ago, 8 years ago, right? Okay. So around that time, she had an internet little radio show going, and I was her co-host. And so I met you at that time. But this is what's so interesting. At the time that I met you, I don't think I really spoke a lot. I didn't really engage in the book and what the book. And then I think that I also probably had some judgments on the statement, so I kind of stood back. But that's why I'm telling you, timing is everything. You got me? Yeah. Because now in this season of my life, your book came up in my head. So here we go.
Yes, I remember Dr. Guy. Shout out Dr. Guy.
Yeah.
Good people.
Oh, I love her. That's my sister. Yeah. Okay, so now, are you ready? I reached out to you and I asked you. And I'm gonna call you my brother. Will I insult you by calling? Okay.
Let's go.
I reached out and I asked you if you would have a candid conversation with me.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and you said yeah. And then wait, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all what else happened. So I started doing some research, and I wanted to buy the book, and then I saw that I couldn't buy the book online for some reason. But then what popped up was YouTube. And so I'm like, oh, he has all the chapters. So I sat there day after day, 21 chapters, and I'm just really listening. But what's so interesting is my ears are different now when I'm listening. So I reach out to you and I say, okay, I want to kind of give you some questions or just let you know, like, what the direction is, where we going, because I want you to feel supported and empowered when you come and prepared, right? Okay. And then your response to me, which was so dope, you said, I sent you the questions and you responded and said, you may be surprised at my answers now because I'm different than I was 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Hallelujah. I responded to you and said, I am too.
We are, hopefully, right?
And that was my thing. I said, well, I hope so. Shoot, I'm different than I was 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, 10 more years of marriage for me.
Oh, here we go, y'all. So, okay. So we're going to start where you were, because I think that a lot of brothers out there are where you were. Yeah. Right. And then we're going to bring it up to where you are now, if you don't mind.
Where I was at that time was I was trying to figure out how to be a good husband. It was, I looked around and I said to myself, who would I model myself after as a husband? And I didn't have any good models. My father was not in my life. When I was born, my father was in prison. I never met my father or been around him. I know who he is, I know where he is, but I've never met him. And I don't have a marriage that I wanted my marriage to model after. So I really just had to ask myself one day, what would I be? What is a good husband? And I had to define it for myself, and I had to set that bar high. And so I had to look at, how do I heal to get to a place where I could be proud of who I am. And at the same time, I had a young son, and I was like, he's going to be able to see me at some point and know and learn from me. And he's not going to just learn from what I say to him. He's going to learn from what he sees me say on YouTube or podcasts or in my book and things like that. So I really wanted to be a great man, not just for my wife, but for my son, for my legacy, for things of that nature. So I started really looking at, like, what is a husband? What is a good man? What is a great father? How do you do this marriage thing? How do you be successful with it? I didn't know how to do it. So I had to sit down and just spend cycles just trying to, how would I do this better? The subtitle of the book, a book about the emotional instability of men, was about just being humble and how can I learn, how can I heal, how can I grow, how can I not take my hurt and pain and put that off on the next person that I will be with, and how can I just own it and like the fancy word we say these days, unpack it, so therefore I can share it and use it just to save marriages.
Wow. No, that's so dope.
Mm.
Right. But you know what? For me, Stephen, my thought is you're aware of that now. But I'm assuming the story I'm telling myself is that you weren't really aware of that at the time.
I wasn't aware of anything.
Come on now.
I was just a writer in terms of not really a writer. Let me
No, you were.
I was writing. I wasn't a writer. I was just like trying to figure out my emotions and my feelings and put them down on paper, because I'm a believer of that. I'm a believer of you can tell yourself negative things all day long.
Come on.
And the negative is going to always overpower the positive, or what positive things you can say about yourself. And so I just believed in the practice of writing things down on paper so you can see them. And so I just started writing. I didn't start out like saying, oh, I want to write a book. It was never that. It was, I want to figure out how to be a great husband. So I was like positives and negatives and if then else loops. And what if I did this differently? What if I did this better? Bouncing it off my wife. What can I do better? What can I do differently? How can I get you to love me more? How can I love you better? Things like that. And so I was just writing. And I actually enjoyed writing. I needed that outlet because I needed to be able to convey those deep, passionate things that I didn't have my homeboys that I wanted to share it with. When my homeboys, we just talking about the game, we just talking about money, stuff like that or whatever. I really wasn't in a position at that young age to say, hey, this is what's happening at home. This is what's hurting me. This is what I'm concerned about. What can I do? I didn't have a man that I wanted to go to and say, hey, how can I be a better husband? I wasn't ready to do that. So I would just write. And then it just kind of formulated into a book. Even the title came to me later. The title just came to me after looking at what I wrote and just rereading it and rewriting it, because I just went through those iterations. It took me like maybe a year. Now I had a lot of discipline. Like I would write every day at 4:00, just 4 to whenever I got done, every single day for like a year. And so I learned so much through being honest with myself. That's key. That's when editors got to highlight that. Just being honest with myself.
You want that highlighted. Okay.
Just about, hey man, you could be a better husband.
But let me say this. So when I started off reading your book, audio reading your book, you started off speaking about a marriage that you were in at the time, right? And you were speaking about having all of these needs. And there was issues because you felt like your wife couldn't give you what she needed, because I think she had her life's vision, right, of going to medical school. And I even think I said that you would even ask her, like specifically, like I need more attention, or I need more affection, or I need more sex. Those were things that you would ask. But you felt like, I think you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that you felt like what she needed for her was more important than your needs.
When two people come together, you definitely have to merge your needs. Like the Bible says, two becomes one. And I thought that meant immediately merging. And that's why I wasn't ready for, as we were merging, it was a slow process. She was in a med school. She's going through that process. So I'm kind of like in waiting mode for us to complete the merger. As a new husband, and I was trying to figure out how do I merge my needs with her needs. And at the time, as a new husband, I only need marriage, basically. I didn't have anything else. Like when we were newly married, she's in med school, so she's got a whole nother, basically, life. You got a PhD. It's a whole nother life that you live in. It's so time consuming. And so I was never a proponent of something being more important than the marriage, not at any given time. Like if I'm married, this is what I do. I'm not doing something else and all these different things.
Are you a all or nothing personality?
Were
you?
I am a prioritizing marriage personality.
Okay.
So it's not an all or nothing. It's just marriage comes first. So even when you call and say, hey, Stephen, you want to do an interview? I check with the wife first. I don't check with you first. You know, I don't
Mhm.
confirm or whatever. Hey, honey, what are you doing on Saturday from
Mhm.
this time to this time? So then wife says, okay, I'm free. Okay, now what are the kids doing? You know, do I have to do anything with the kids? You know,
Mhm.
and then after that, I can do whatever I need to do. Nothing is in competition with marriage.
Mhm.
That's what I derived and created when I was writing. Like, I was competing with marriage too much. Like, my wife wanted to do this, my homeboy wanted to do that. Early on in marriage, in my first marriage, that was competition for me. I didn't know how to
Oh,
prioritize that because I'm an alpha. I'm in a fraternity. When you're an alpha and you're in a fraternity, the fraternity is important. You could
gotcha.
tell your girlfriend, hey girl, no, we ain't doing, I'm going with my frat. No, we can't dance right now. I need to scroll around the party. I need to hop around. I can't dance with you right now. I gotta hop all night. And I'm gonna see you after the party. You
Okay.
know, so we prioritize the fraternity. So then when you get graduate from college, you get married, you still learning how to prioritize marriage. And I wasn't good at that early on. And then once I switched that flip to say, okay, marriage is most important, I got a partner who's saying, well, marriage is on the back burner while I finish med school.
Oh,
That
but
was the difficulty.
no, I get that. That sounds difficult. But how did you even know that marriage should be the priority? Like what? Because you said you didn't have a role model,
Right.
right? But I'm wondering what was that made you say marriage was a priority? Because some men try to juggle
Right.
both forever, right?
I'm
It's
a
not that clear.
it's not God blessed me with a love for the institution of marriage.
Okay.
It's just I love it. I don't really understand it either. I got married the day after I graduated from college. I wanted to get married. I wanted to be with one woman. Collecting women was not an issue for me. I didn't see it as a challenge. I kind of grew out of that
We
really
gonna go
early.
there next. We going there
Ooh, you want to go
soon.
back to that? Okay, yeah. It wasn't a challenge. I could collect women all day. I got the gift of gab, right?
Uh-huh.
You make them laugh, you get them. That's tip to the men. Make them laugh. You got the girl. You win once you make them laugh, right? And so that was never a challenge for me. But building a family,
Uh-huh.
having a marriage that sustains as long as you guys, 27 years. We're 18 years in October.
Well,
That was a
congratulations.
challenge,
Yeah.
and that's why I wanted to grow my manhood. I wanted to be a great man. Like that was
Mm.
I had those type of challenges and goals for my life. I didn't know how to do it, but it was in my spirit. So God
Mm.
just laid it on my spirit, laid it in my heart, and I was just following that path. How do I get there?
Come on now, making them crooked places straight.
Absolutely.
Hey, no, that's good. Okay, all right, okay. So now you graduate, you get married, and now you're trying to figure out how to prioritize marriage. You ask for what you need, and you felt like, okay, wait a minute, I'm not the priority here. Something's going on.
Right.
So then y'all go to what we always tell you to do. You
Yep.
go to marriage counseling because that's supposed to fix everything, right?
Everything.
But there you go, and it don't fix it.
Not all the time.
Well, maybe it fixed it for that moment,
For the moment.
right?
For us at the time with my ex, um, it wasn't fixing the marriage. Each individual person needed to be fixed.
That's right.
Um,
That's good.
we needed to learn how to balance, and we probably didn't have the patience. At least I didn't have the patience to balance things and give and compromise. Up until that point in my life, I had never compromised before. I'm a man. I just get whatever I want, like whatever I want at all times. That's just what men do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, immediately once you get married, husbands will tell you. I'm sure your husband will tell you the woman just they swell up. They just get strong. Once the woman get married, she like, I got him. She gets strong and she just put you in a headlock. Oh, okay. I was about to
Is
go
that
down a
true?
hole.
I'm like,
Absolutely, y'all
wait,
get
you
stronger.
nope. You better speak about
Mhm,
your story. Don't come over here talking about
That's
mine.
that's what I tell all the men. I say, hey, whenever they get married, I say, hey man, when y'all get married, she gonna get stronger. She gonna talk to you a little. It's gonna be a little bit more bass in her tone. She's gonna be a little bit more direct.
Oh,
You know, that's what happens. And
okay.
so I just didn't manage that well. I hadn't been prepared for that. Going into counseling, and I'm definitely a proponent of counseling.
Yes.
Also, I think many of us, if not all, need some form of counseling to talk and get those things out that you're afraid to share. You need to be in a closed environment where you feel safe, where you can share those things. But I didn't have the patience. I'll just speak for. I just did not have the patience for the work that it would have taken to save that marriage at that time, because that work would have been me basically sitting still and just waiting.
Ooh, come on now.
Just wait.
Come on now.
I wasn't good at it.
Ooh, but it's so much power.
I have
in
no
sitting
patience.
Still.
I still don't have much patience. I still got to pray for patience daily. It's a daily prayer. Add me to your prayer list. Just whenever you thinking like, who can I pray for? Get your man,
Steven.
get your man,
Okay,
get
I
your man
got
some
you. Okay, my
patience.
brother Steven. Okay, I'm gonna do.
Mhm.
Okay, I got you. So it wasn't quick enough for you.
Mm-mm.
All right, and
Mm-mm.
then y'all decided to split.
Yeah, when it was 20 got married, 23, got divorced, age 25. College sweetheart, graduated from college, got married the next day. We really weren't real
Ready.
world marriage. We didn't even have anyone in our life to tell us, hey, y'all don't need to get married yet. Just
That's
be
good.
boyfriend, girlfriend in the real world and see how y'all like being together in the real world as man and woman. We didn't get that advice. So we got married. We shouldn't have gotten married. We didn't know what we was doing. We moved to a new city where we only had each other. And that didn't help really either because I needed another outlet. She was building a new life at medical school. I really didn't have that outlet. So I would just be running around, either running around or waiting on her to like come home. And you know how it is when you're getting that PhD. She's studying from 6 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. She really had nothing to give to the marriage. And I remember at one point her specifically asking me, hey, just wait until I'm done with med school and I'll make you happy. To which I'm like, I'm not promised tomorrow. I can't just give you 5 years, and just wait. Like I couldn't do that. Some men maybe could do it. I don't know. I couldn't do it at the age of 23.
I got you. That was young.
Yeah, I was young.
That was young.
To make that kind of commitment and sacrifice.
No, that's so true. The brain isn't fully developed until age 25. So you were actually an adolescent
Yes,
at
I
the
was.
time. Yeah, so okay. I get it. But then, okay. So I guess this is where the name of the book comes to fruition, right?
Absolutely.
Because instead of leaving that situation, and I don't even know how you would even say, well, okay, well, let me work on me.
Right.
No, you said, let me move to Dallas and
let me collect as many as I can. Let me just get back to collecting. This is easier. It has no emotional tie, just anything. Literally, like, I visited Dallas to interview for a job, met a couple women, and it was just easy. And then the damage that I caused when I was running around hoeing, it was I was so hurt because of my failure without knowing that that's what it was. I was, like I said, just talking and collecting women just based on, and then I didn't care. So I was very aggressive. And again, exhibited a lack of patience, but I started winning like that actually. Whereas I was more direct, more aggressive, didn't give a lot of energy to emotional ties or things of that nature. I would basically just go from woman to woman to woman.
Wait, hold on, Stephen. And you know what I loved about your book is it was so candid. But you said in that approach, they loved it.
They loved it.
You said they loved it. And women out here who come to counseling or hit me up and you talk about relationships and the men and the dating that you're doing that is unhealthy when you don't think about yourself and your needs first. You're putting it out, giving everything to someone else who you don't even know. I just think that I think it's so good for you to even talk about that because, everybody is not of like minds. And so just because you see somebody and he likes you because you like him because of what he looks like, you still have to look at more things than that, more of that than just, than that he likes you.
Right.
And I loved how you said, this was another thing that you said. You said it was so easy for you to, of course, be aggressive and say exactly what you wanted, and the women would just come in and just pulling their panties off. It was one after the next. You didn't say that literally, but you did in another way. But then you said something about the women, even though they knew, like, okay, I'm separated, I'm not fully divorced. Like that would just charge them up even more because for some reason they thought they was gonna make you their man.
Women, it's controversial because
But you
women
tell
will
your
never
truth.
right. Yeah, women won't agree to it up front, but women have a competitive spirit inside of them also. I have stories and stories for days where I would basically just pit women against them. I was one of those men that would just invite all the women I was dating out to the party, all of them, and then I would choose which one I would go home with at the end of the night. And I would intentionally let women see me talking to other women. like intentionally. I would see, oh, hey girl, how you doing? And keep this conversation going over here with this woman as you're watching me, as you're getting upset. And now she's like, I want him. Why is he talking to her? They being competitive. I was doing it on purpose.
Really? Why?
All the time.
But tell me why.
It was working. It was easy.
Because then, wait, you could get both of them.
I get both of them. It was really, it wasn't just both. Don't limit me to both.
No, I want you to tell a story.
Don't limit me to both. You know, at any given time.
I got you. Or somebody else who was watching.
It was a team. Yeah. We would, it was crazy. You know, like it literally was, I was just having fun. I was trying to figure out how to heal through hoeing and through meeting women and not committing anything emotionally of myself to them. Being able to tell a woman, I remember telling a woman one time we were out on a date and she said, well, I'm not dating anybody else. Are you? And I looked in her eye and I said, yes, I'm dating probably like 6 or 7 other women. In fact, one is coming to town this weekend. And she was like, well, where she's going to stay? I said, she's staying with me. And she was like, oh, just like that. And I said, yeah, I just want you to know, you know? And so honesty was always my best policy. I always kind of felt like too, like, how you going to be a real player if you got to lie? And so for me, I was like, I got to tell the truth. And then I feel like a player. Then I feel like you can choose. You don't have to choose me. I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm dating. I'm not trying to get in a relationship. I'm not trying to be in a commitment. And my wife now that I've been married to, she didn't take that. She presented herself differently. She just shut it down. And at that time in my life, she just happened to meet me at the right time where I was like, oh, I respect that woman. When she was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. Play that game that you're playing with all these other women. You holler at me once you clean that mess up over there.
Okay.
And I was like, ooh, I respect her. I always tell women that I married the woman that I respected.
Okay, that leads me to something else that I read in your book, where you said, and I'm going to bring this up just because of the word respect. I thought that was interesting because on a podcast that I just did, I think last week, we talked about, someone wrote in and they asked, do all men cheat? That was the question, right? She wanted to know, do all men cheat? And so Dr. Kreative and we gave her our perspective on that. But in your book, you said, men only cheat on women. You didn't say it just like this, but you pretty much said that they don't respect. But then you said, or if they're not mad at you. I'm like, well, how the hell do you get out of that?
I try to cover all of it.
So you said that you wouldn't necessarily say that all men cheat or don't cheat, or tell me, go ahead.
I would say the majority of men have something that they've done that their wife would not be proud of. And men are as faithful as their options.
Wait a minute, you scaring me with that. Okay, you're gonna combine them. Okay, all right. Because you know what our friend Charlemagne the God says.
Real men don't cheat.
On the black, what is it? The Breakfast Club podcast. What did he say? No, he said black men don't cheat.
Right.
Okay.
After he's cheated. He's saying that.
Okay. But okay. But take me into it. So you said, go ahead, repeat that, please.
It's more complicated than do men cheat because once I wrote my book, and I traveled the country, I started working with people. So people would just reach out to me and say, hey, can you coach me and my wife? And, and I started doing seminars and I started doing more one-on-one stuff. I got involved even at my church and I was a member of the life group. And I had 20 life groups or something that reported up to me and my wife. So I got to sit with a lot of people.
Yes.
And I learned that it wasn't just men cheat. It was a lot that went into it. It wasn't just about sex, right? So sometimes when you say, do all men cheat? A lot of people are really asking, are men just sex crazed? And it's different reasons that men cheat, right? And it's different reasons. And then it comes to what I've seen since I've been able to work with couples more is that a lot of times, I can't say men had a good reason to cheat, but I've seen wives who said, I don't want to have sex, right? So where is that counted in? When I've talked to wives who are Christian sisters who just said, I don't want to have sex. Like I've lost my sexual desire, or my sexual desire cannot meet my husband's sexual desire. And they admit to it. They just come to me and say, well, what can I do about that? And I'm like, how can we meet halfway? And so then when I kind of walk through how you meet halfway, the man is still looking at me like I have a desire that's not being met. And I don't know what to do with that desire. So it's not as simple as I just want more sex, right? It's marriage is complicated. Marriage is tough. It is the most difficult thing that any of us would try to achieve, right? There's nothing else that compares to it. Like I can get off the phone. My mama make me upset. Bye, mama, I'm gone. Or my kids, I can send them to their room. My wife is going to be there every day. You know, when I left this morning, she was there. She's going to be there when I get back tonight. And so those things we have to work out. So if me and my wife are not on the same page, or we're not liking each other, we have ups and downs, teaching men how to deal with that up and down. And women too, because there's a lot of women who cheat.
Absolutely.
More and more, I'm hearing from women who are not sexually satisfied at home either. But quite often, we don't ask that same question to women. And women would normally cheat for a different reason. They want the emotional connection. They got the man that all they do is watch football all weekend long. Man, I got men now, hey, I'm from Thursday to Monday, I'm gone. You know, we got men like that. And the women are like run around like, I don't have an emotional connection. And so the women that cheat may not be looking for sex. They're looking for the emotional connection.
Absolutely.
The men that might be cheating might not just be looking for sex. They might look for just someone just to show them that they're important.
Make them feel affirmed,
yes.
or validate them.
The struggle of a wife that's a mother, how to prioritize the husband and the kids. Lots of women have trouble with that.
Absolutely.
It's a real thing. I don't even want to picture it as a bad thing and say it's trouble, because it's life.
It is.
Right.
It just is. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is.
It's just life that when you get home from school, you got a good dinner, you got to do homework over here. By the time you actually get to being, I was just telling a person the other day, I'm probably not married until like about 9:30 at night.
What does
that
mean?
Meaning that I'm at practice with a kid till 6:00, then get home at 6:30 is dinner and with the family. Then at 7:00 is homework, and then it's SAT prep, and then then it's washing dishes and doing something. Okay, now I'm ready to be. Everything else is done. I get to be a husband now at 9:30.
Wow.
She gets to be a wife now at 9:30. But are we now? Do we have the energy now?
No, y'all sleepy. Y'all about to go sleep. Y'all got to go to work tomorrow
and do it all over again tomorrow. And so then when you look at marriage, I'm like, okay, are you really married? And so marriages are struggling like that also. When you get married, when you're dating, it's just you and the woman. Then you get married, it's just you and the woman. And y'all kids come along, you're no longer really married. You're now a family. The marriage is kind of, and that's why you have to be intentional about dating.
That's right.
You have to be intentional. If not, what we my wife did was at least monthly, we would get out of the house and go and get a hotel room just to get, because I found like we couldn't even date, like go out on a date and come home. We go out on a date and come home, and my wife just go put clothes in the washer, like, oh, let me just get this. And I'm like, you killing the whole vibe. You know what I'm saying? I done took you out. We done went to the show and went to dinner. Then you come home and you want to wash dishes before we go in the bedroom, or wash clothes or sweep or mop. And okay, you know what? We need to go all the way to a hotel so you can have nothing on your mind but me.
Oh, that's good.
Right? Nothing on your mind but me. Don't come in the house going, oh, let me take the dog out. Let me feed the fish. Let me get the cat, the monkey, the gorilla, forget the whole zoo of animals and if the chicken laid some eggs. Forget all of that, just me the way it used to be.
Okay.
And so we lose that.
Oh, that's so good. Pause, because I you know what I think is important there? What you explained or described before you just said that, before you gave that example, was marriage.
Yes.
Because that is, every time you said that's not marriage, no, that is marriage, right? So marriage does look like, now when the kids come, they are also a high priority. I'm not saying that they are the priority, but they are, especially if you want to be good parents, right? And so that's because they're an investment too. So I get it, right? All of those things get in the way, and that is what marriage looks like. But this is what's so good, is that I don't think a lot of men feel like I think they lose the fact that they're not getting the attention that they desire. So the wife comes home and she's feeling like she has to do all of these things, right? Just a part of being a wife, or the woman in the relationship, part of her nesting, right? That's her multitasking. And yet, and still, even though that is the norm to be a mom and a wife, right? But then, like you said, the husband is still like, well, where do I fit in?
Right.
Where do I fit in? And I also have heard a lot of the same feelings from men when women just even first have their babies.
Yes.
Right, in relationships, because when the baby comes, now the baby is the priority.
Absolutely.
And the baby should be the priority,
Yeah.
because all of the baby's needs have to be met by both of the parents, right? If not mainly one, as far as like breastfeeding, you know,
Yeah.
the man can't do that, even
Right.
though I don't know, they got some new technologies, but just saying,
Mhm.
the baby's the priority. And a lot of times men will feel slighted
Right.
by even their own baby coming home, because they feel like they aren't getting that attention.
Absolutely. And it's abrupt. Like it's immediate.
That's good.
Baby, cries, welcome to the world. That's 24-hour, monitoring of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is a significant challenge. And I don't know if women are even doing anything to get prepared for that.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if, moms are talking to daughters about saying, hey, when you have your baby, you got to figure out how to manage your marriage, because mom is consumed, as she should be, really. Like we're talking out on both sides of it, really, because a mom is going to be 100% consumed with taking care of the baby. And that's natural.
That's just what it is.
That's her natural disposition. That's what she was created to do.
That umbilical cord
Yes.
was connected, and that is exactly
yes.
That's right. That's
so
right.
So while until that baby is in the crib and safe and not moving, woman is totally 100% occupied with taking care of the baby. And I'm a father that wants to do as much as I can. Like I was like, even with my daughter, our daughter's 8 years old. And I want, hey, let me read to her. Let me put her in the bed. And my daughter like, no, get away from me. She like, where my mama at? Just a million times I've tried, like, oh, let me get out of here. Where my mama at? She wants mom.
Yeah.
And so it'll be mom in the bedroom with the daughter, putting the baby to sleep, laying in the bed with her, whatever. She got older. Me just waiting in the bedroom, waiting in the bedroom. By the time mom gets to me, she tired. And so luckily I was able to say to myself, hey, mama tired. She really is. But I still have needs. And what do I do with my needs? That's the process. That's what's missing in what we do in our marriages.
That's right. Yeah, that's where that whole maturity comes in. The patience comes in, right? The identifying feelings comes in, so that you can kind of sit with yourself and choose to make the best decision for you and your family, opposed to being impulsive and just acting out, right, on that immediate need to have instant gratification with hoeing, let's just say. Yeah, with hoeing. And so, no, I think that that's really good. So just like you said, attention. I said, I need attention. So because I know now you've been married, right? And you said, we talked about emotions, because I want to kind of get there. I remember in your book, you said feelings. This was so good. Okay. So when you was in that stage, you said, I didn't even know what feelings were. You said y'all went to the counselor, and the counselor was like, okay, so tell me, Stephen, what are you feeling? And you was like, huh?
Right.
Like, what's that?
Never
how
dealt
you
with that
today?
before.
Right. You just describing how you are today. I'm cool. Right.
She would say, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm hungry.
Oh, yeah.
She'd be like, no, how you feeling? I'm like, I just told this woman I'm hungry. Like, what are you talking about? I look at my wife today. I just told this woman I was hungry. And she'd be like, no, how do you feel? I'm like, I didn't sleep well. She's like, no, how do you feel? Ooh. I'm like, hunger is not a feeling.
Ooh, that's
like sleep is not, being sleepy is not a feeling.
Oh, that's good.
And it was never, like, and I'm talking at this time, I'm 25, basically. Yeah. But I was on the football team. I didn't get to feel, I didn't get to find out, like I wanted to say. I'm smarter now. I wanted to say I didn't get to think about feeling. But you don't even think about feeling, right? You just feel. Oh. And so I could never even get to that level. I'd have to tell myself it's okay to feel. Oh. And so now tap into, okay, how do you feel? What do you need? Yeah. What are you unhappy about? Yeah. How can you compromise? How can you sacrifice? Oh, okay, wait, look at the woman and see, what does the woman need? What is she looking forward to? And so I would just try to do those things. And it took me a long time to get there. It took me a very, way longer than I thought it should have. No, I got you. And you no need to judge, because as long as you're here now, right, it's God's timing. Right. It was crooked. God made it straight. Right. There you go.
That's right. But no, but listen, I really want to stay here for 1 second because there are so many men out there who are like you, feeling what is that? And even I love how you described, even at that time, not now, wifey, but at that time when you were doing all of the hoeing, the women were feeling you and they was thinking that y'all were connected because y'all had good sex and because it was fun. But you didn't have all your feelings was someplace else even back then.
I was still hurt.
That's right. So, and I love how you first start, because I want to talk about feeling so that the men out there can kind of identify and maybe even ask themselves, have they even identified what feeling even looks like? Yeah, like, how do you even start to get there, to identify that? Because I know one thing you mentioned, and I want you to explain it because you do it so greatly. But you said with girls, you said something like the difference between females and males, with women and their feelings or their moms or their sisters or their friends, but with men, and if they have feelings or they try to go to their guys, like no guy is gonna hug you, like your friend's not gonna hug you, and so yeah, if you could, because I'm gonna mess it all up.
So when a woman goes through a breakup, her girlfriends immediately know they've been through it too. They immediately reach out and they understand how to support. So it's not just that men won't support, we don't know how to support. So even if I was in a position where I was going to cry out, I got to be very careful about who I cry out to. So now I have to choose between my friends. Which ones do I think are mature? Which ones I think that are going to give me positive feedback? Which ones are going to challenge me? Which ones are just going to laugh at me? And so as we're going through this process of first saying to myself, I'm hurt, right? Because we can't even get there. Like, we don't even know we hurt, right? So we got to go through that. Like, I'm angry. No, you're not just angry, you're hurt.
Come on now.
And so then it's a process to get to that point. So once now we figured out we've arrived that we're hurt, what do I do with that hurt? Right, I'm not gonna go to a counselor. Right, this is before we started talking about it.
That's right.
Right, before we started talking normalizing going to counseling in the Black community. And so even at that point, it still was difficult to share how you felt because we were just learning how to feel. I'm still going thinking I'm in counseling as a 25-year-old man telling a woman I'm hungry, because I didn't eat. Like, that's really, I'm in counseling. I'm paying her to help fix a marriage, and she says, what's going on? And I say, I'm hungry. You see how far that is? Like, I gotta come.
It's just disconnected. Right. It's so disconnected from self. Yeah.
Right. She can't help my marriage.
It's in logic, right? It's not in your heart.
It's not, I don't even, and so I haven't even started aware of me being hurt. And so that's how long we got to go through counseling, because I got to get through hunger, get through sleepy, get through being tired, all the way to, okay, how do I feel? Now I got to really sit down and think, because I've never, ever thought about how I feel, because how I feel has never mattered.
Oh, that's so good.
Never.
Please keep going there.
Where would our feelings matter?
Okay, what about during childhood when you fall and you scrape your knee?
Never.
And then, somebody, how do you feel, Stephen?
No, I was raised in a single parent household.
Come on.
My mama worked like 3, 4, 5 jobs or something like that. If I fell down, I had to get up.
Lord have mercy.
I had to get myself up.
The best way you knew how.
Yes, and not bother my mama because she's tired. She's getting a little bit of sleep right here. And then I move on to playing football. Whereas when you're in football, basketball, you get hurt, you have to get up because there's other men around. So even then, how you doing? We got football players and athletes right now that are hurting, that got a torn ACL, that got some kind of muscle strain, and the coaches are saying you need to play anyway. I remember playing football at a young age, and my coach, and I got hurt, and my coach actually said to me, he said, are you hurt or are you injured? And I didn't know there was a difference. An injury meant I couldn't play anymore. So of course I'm not injured. So and it was almost like he's asking me, are you hurt or are you injured? And it was really like prompting me to say I'm not injured so I can go back in the game.
Lord have mercy.
So that's how I would learn to deal. So the whole time from the age of a teenage boy, 13, 14, 15, up to 21, anytime something hurt me, number one, it was externally. No one never asked about me internally, but it was externally. And so I couldn't deal with my pain externally. I definitely couldn't deal with my pain internally. Right. So now once I become I'm not playing football anymore. I'm in my 20s. I get married. Now I have to figure out how to deal with myself internally, which I don't even know because I've never been hurt inside before.
Wow. Well,
never.
Right.
Never happened.
Well, you're not aware of it, even if it did happen.
It never. It would. We can just assume
that it didn't.
That it never happened. Okay. That I was never ever hurt.
Right.
Ever. You know, when mom did something or whatever, and I couldn't do it, or mom said I wasn't hurt then. I was angry. Right.
That's good.
Right. Mama said, no, you can't go out with that girl to that date, to the movie everybody going to. I was angry.
Oh, socially, because it's socially acceptable for a little boy to be angry.
You go slam your door, whatever, do whatever you're gonna do.
But if you cried, what?
Stop being a little girl.
Oh.
So I don't want to be a little girl.
Oh.
So nothing is ever hurt externally or internally.
Wow.
And so that's when I arrive at going to a counselor and saying I'm hungry. Because I'm not hurt.
That was great. Please, I hope you get something from that, because not only you, so many men
hurt.
Yes, hurt, but they can't identify the hurt because they hungry.
Right. You gonna tell somebody that in a client next week? Well, baby, are you hungry? And he's gonna be like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm not hurt.
That's our buzzword, right?
Right. There's gonna be a secret word. You have to just tell us, hey, if you hurt, you don't want to say it. Just say you hungry, and I'll know. Like, yeah, I'm hungry. That's when they'll start doing it. We're really, really far apart. Whereas at the same time, conversely, a woman throughout her entire life has seen mom cry, has seen mom love, has seen mom be vulnerable, have seen mom be in touch with how she feels and be able to express that and not be judged, but be supported.
Yes, that's
and so where is that for our community?
Yes.
Not only so again, we're talking about me not being able to say it, but then not having anyone that I would trust if I said it to, and then not having someone that even if I said it to them, would they know what to do with it?
Yeah, that's so good.
Whereas y'all just knew just to hug each other and love each other.
Because we were brought up to, that was a norm.
And that was a loving environment.
That's right. Well, that was even if you didn't have a loving environment, that was a societal norm, right? Girls, you can cry. Girls can hug each other. Girls can have love. But boys, you better get yourself together.
I'm sorry.
No, you go. No.
Because one story I wanted to tell you, like my son was maybe like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And he fell down. And I go over to him and I stand over him. And I'm like, hey, man, you okay? And my wife had saw it. My wife ran from round the corner down the street and slid in like it was home plate and got eye level with him and laid on the floor
Come on now.
And said, baby, are you okay? And I was like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do? Like, you're not supposed to just stand over him and say, hey, son, you all right down there, man? You kind of fell kind of hard. Mama was on the floor, eye contact, looking at the baby with her. Baby, are you okay? Just zoomed in, and I was like, oh, she wrapping arms around him at an early age, giving that loving caress environment and letting them know it's okay if you're hurt.
Yes.
You can tell mommy that you're hurt. And it's just untold men who don't have that opportunity to grow in that environment. And through that process, she's also worked on me, saying, Stephen, do not raise our son how you were raised.
Come on
to
now.
not really be in touch with how you feel.
Yeah.
So my son, he might be the only one in the universe. I don't know. He's not gonna say he's hungry. If he hurt, he's gonna say he hurt. He's gonna say he hurt.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I love that. That's good. That's good. So we are breaking curses here, generational curses. And you spoke about your father, because that was also another thing. I think that's a pivotal point. That's okay. I think that's a pivotal point. The fact that your father was absent because he was in jail. So then there was no even example to even identify with what a man does when he's hurt or not. So you just kind of got it from wherever you was. And I love when you said, you didn't say this, but you pretty much did. If I fell and if I was hurt, I had to figure it out on my own.
I was the oldest of my 2 siblings.
Okay.
And so mom was working 2 or 3 jobs. I didn't have an opportunity to feel anything. I had to be an adult. I had to take care of the family.
Lord.
Mom was gone. At one point, mom was away in college, my senior year. And there would be times like, if my brother lost his lunch money, I'd have to give him mine. Mom's gone. Ain't had Cash App and Venmo and all those things back in the day. We had cash, straight cash, homie. And so I would everything about me from the age of maybe 13 up was about being a man. And being a man and being responsible, sacrificing for others, looking out for others.
Whoa.
And there was just never space for me to figure out how I felt about anything.
No, I get it. Okay, that leads me to a quote in your book.
Mm-hmm.
You said, and this was before, right? I know you're a new man now, but this is a part of your growth.
Mm-hmm.
You said accepting unhappiness is a hard thing to swallow.
I don't know that I still know how to do that. Yeah, accepting unhappiness. I've never had to be unhappy.
Come on now. Yeah, good,
You already know what I'm about to say.
Well, hit us with it.
I've never had to accept being unhappy, even if it was for a time, until marriage. Never. Anything else in life I had control over, or I had, or I can just do something different if I didn't like it. But in marriage, a part of that maturity and that growth is understanding that so when people say you have ups and downs,
yes,
it's not just that you have ups and downs, it's how you're going to deal with being down.
Oh, that's good. Because ups are easy.
Ups are easy.
Come on now. Yeah.
And we're always having ups, right? And then when you have your first down, and what are you going to do about it? How do you feel about it? What's going on? We never, at least I did, and the average man never dealt with being unhappy from an emotional standpoint of just, let's go pray about it. Let's just sit still. Let's just trust God. Let's just, it's crooked now, but it's going to be straight later.
Okay.
Like those things, those tools I didn't have.
I got you. And so now you said, sometimes I don't know how to accept being unhappy, but those are the tools that you use.
Now I can pray about it.
I got you.
Now I have that tool. Now I'm still not perfect at it. It's still
you.
not.
Yeah.
It's still very difficult because I still feel like I do as much as I can. But I'm also smarter to know to be able to look at my wife and be like, she does as much as she can.
Come on,
if not more.
Yeah, that's good.
Hopefully she don't watch.
No, but you don't. No. I wanted to watch. That's good because I think it also comes down to when we're unhappy. I think in women and men, right? When we're unhappy, I think it's kind of like we need to pause and look around us and look at the things that we're grateful for.
Yes.
Because that literally will give you a burst of dopamine and of perspective. Right? So I'm unhappy about this, but look how much that I have around me that can create happiness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at how I'm blessed.
And that's a shift right there because we can't, as human beings and as adults, we have to understand that we can't always have everything that we want at every time that we want it. That's just a part of the journey of life.
That's a part of maturity and being an adult, like you said. So when I talk about in my past, I was never unhappy. Well, I was a kid. I didn't have anything to be unhappy about. It was just, if I got some Skittles, I'm good.
Yeah.
Skittles and a burger, I'm good. Whereas now we talking about 401ks and houses and cars and taxes and all kind of things. These are things that I have to deal with and learn how to be unhappy with.
Come on now.
And so it's just maturity. Maybe we shouldn't get married so young. I was so young.
I agree. And I also think the key to that, I'm gonna leave this word with you, is acceptance. Acceptance is a powerful word because sometimes we fight what is when really where the good stuff is acceptance, the power of accepting what is. And then you learn how to live around it.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get out of here, you don't need to, I really wanted you because, you learned a lot about single women, even though you're a married man.
18 years in October.
And so,
we're going to go speed round. What we got?
Well, okay. So if I were just to say to you, if you could just remember, you may not remember this because you wrote this book so long ago, because there were 10 top things that you said that men aren't thinking. So when single women, when you out there and you men, you're assuming that men are thinking whatever it is that you want them to be thinking. But you named 10 things. I don't know if you can remember 3 of them. It was so long ago.
Yeah. What I would say is one of the things I always talk to women about is sometimes most of the times actually, women focus too much on what the man wants.
Ooh.
When really the woman knows what she wants.
Come on now.
And women need to just trust that innate thing that God gives them. What I try to tell women is, when women say to me, well, what if I don't know if we're in a relationship or not? Well, if you're ready for a relationship and he's not, then that means that you move on.
Right.
That's what that means. It's simple. Don't be trying to figure it out or trying to convince them or are you gonna be ready for a relationship on Tuesday or December? Or is it 2025? Like what? Like don't do it. If you're ready for a relationship now, just focus on that and move on to the next man.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. So that's good. I will tell you this. What was so interesting about your book back then, in the way that you wrote it back then, right? And it was just raw through your experience. You know who came up in my mind when I was reading early on? This is before the change. It was Kevin Samuels.
Oh, God rest him. God rest his soul. I don't agree with hardly anything he said.
I know, but I'm just saying, where you were during those dysfunctional times as a young man, right? It gave Kevin Samuels.
It was definitely some KS when I was hoeing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And that's the maturity and the growth.
Absolutely.
Right? But once I grew out of that Kevin Samuels stage, like I said, God rest his soul. It was, what do you want out of life? What is life? What is valuable? What is it when you look back on life where you say, when I'm 70 years old, am I gonna look back and say, whoa, I was with a lot of women? Will that matter? Right? Will I remember the woman that I had a one night stand with in Chicago? Did that add value to my life? Or am I going to look back on what I've built with my wife? Am I going to look back on the successes of my children? Am I going to be more concerned about my legacy and things those things that matter? So what I will say to men is, focus on the things that would matter. Like, challenge yourself to spend your energy in a way that you are investing in something that will grow. Planting seeds that you can water. Collecting women is easy. If you're a man out there and if you're just collecting women and lying to them, you're not a player. Let's just start a whole nother player levels to the player game. Do something else if you got to lie. Stop lying. Let a woman choose. Just be man enough to say whatever you got to say and just keep it 100. Keep it 100. If they want to go along for the ride, great. If they don't, keep it moving. And the thing about it was, I would find women who would take it as it is. They just wanted to, maybe they're just having fun too.
Yeah, y'all got to really read the book. You really, really do. You can go.
The book is a lot of fun.
No, it was so fun. It was so intriguing. I'm telling you, I was exercising days on days. Chapter 3, okay, chapter 6. No, it was highly entertaining. And okay, so this is the two more questions, okay, because we out of here. All right. So you said husbands. You got a whole chapter. Husbands, we have to do better.
Right.
Tell these husbands how to do better. What if you could just think of one thing that you could just give to them?
The main thing I tell husbands is, first, just learn who they are and learn like the greatest tragedy to man is to not have witnessed a man love a woman when he was a boy. That's the greatest tragedy to man, is to not have witnessed a man love a woman when he was a boy. So what I mean by that is, I have a son. I want my son to see me loving my wife, his mother, so that when he's older, he knows it's okay to love. Because I didn't even know it was okay to love, right? First time I thought I loved the girl, my homeboy's like, man, you love her? No way, I don't love her. No, I'm hungry. No. I mean, well, I never knew it was okay. My son will be okay with saying, I love this woman at the age of 18, 20, 25. He'll be okay with saying, this is what I'm supposed to be doing as a man, is loving a woman. So what I would say to husbands is love her the way she needs to be loved and not focusing on the way you want to love. We got to figure out how to gap that. As a young man, that's what I did. I was like, I loved you. I gave you love. And it was my love, which wasn't deep or rich or full. It was really just intentional. It wasn't, or transactional, and not a feeling.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so just figure that part. Figure out love, like really, and have your partner be a part of how you figure out love.
That's right.
It's not just yours. especially in marriage, is ours.
Yeah. Okay, this is the last question,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like I said, when I told you I reached out to you and I sent you those questions, right? To give you the direction of where
Mm-hmm.
we were going to go. And you said to me that I am not the man that I was back then,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they want to know, our family want to know,
Mm-hmm.
Stephen, can men heal?
Absolutely. Once they not hungry anymore, um, they can definitely heal. But you got to take
Oh,
some
that's
time.
good.
It's time consuming. It's all consuming. Like you have to really want to be better.
Oh,
You have to want to be great.
you gotta be committed.
Yes, I mean I run into men all the time, and women included, that want to be great doctors, great lawyers, great teachers. Do you want to be a great husband? Do you want to be a great father? Right? Those are the only two things that I worry about. I don't worry about being great at work, or, like I said, great teacher, great coach, great mentor, great friend. No, great father, great
Yes.
husband. I got them in wrong order. Let me say it again. Be great husband and great father. Everything else will fall in place.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your wisdom with us. For real. I really, really appreciate
Thanks for
you.
having me.
I appreciate your growth. Yeah. So now, how do people find you?
Oof.
Are you doing any relationship coaching now? Like,
I need to.
yes,
I
or
need to get out the
men's
house.
coaching?
Occasionally.
You just in the
Just
house? You
depends.
just in the house?
I just be
You
raising
wasting all
kids.
this in the house?
Hey, I told a guy one time, I don't need to save everybody. I just make sure this one at home work. This one at home is good. StephenJamesDixon.com, and my Twitter, my Instagram, Facebook, all that, Stephen James Dixon. So I appreciate you having me. Love the show.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes. Thank you for being here. My brother, now part of our family. All right, guys. So thank you again for joining me here with my guest. Y'all know my new brother, Steven. Go look him up, connect to him, get him back out here in this world. But thank you for joining me again on another episode of Mental Health is a Lifestyle podcast by Andrea Wise-Brown. And guess what, family? I will see you on the next episode. I love you.